I am not a cat. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oye Cinema Club. Today, we're going to be talking about the movie Dumb Money. Dumb money is a phrase that big institutional investors call retail investors. Today we have a lovely, amazing host here. We have Marina, El Dondino, Jason Eccles, and making his guest appearance from the Chappelle Show, JP Saruno.
Come on, JP, do it.
We're discussing Dumb Money. I picked this movie because it's a movie that is dear in my heart because I was one of those participants that was, saying I like that stock and I participated in this movie. And I remember being in that moment in time and thinking, this is going to be a great movie someday. And look at that, it's a movie already. And before I go into my first impressions, because I definitely have a lot to say, I want to go into other people's first impressions, and I want to start with a lady perspective. So, Marina, tell me your first impressions.
This was my first time watching the movie and my first time hearing about these shenanigans because I just buy whatever Fidelity tells me to buy. I've never been the type of person to like research and go in when it's low, sell when it's high. But I do remember not necessarily GameStop, but just like a lot through COVID, it was like a thing to people were really getting in on investing and thinking more and more about the future and things were going up. Everyone was like to the moon, emojis all the time. But the movie itself was good. It reminded me a lot kind of like that same style of like The Big Short and it's not necessarily the same, but the one we reviewed a few weeks back about the guys that were doing like the penny stocks. Shoot, can't remember the name of this movie, but it just
Wolf of
like
Wall Street.
yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. I'm a huge fan of like multiple stories all coming together. I probably have said that a few times on different movies like this. But the first impression was just like, even if you didn't understand, if you have like a very limited knowledge on investing in the stock market, like myself, it was still something that you could follow and still something that you can get into and understand what was at risk for both parties. But yeah, the first impression was just very, very interesting and it kind of captivated you and you felt the pressure.
Thank you so much, Marina. Let's go with JP.
Man, it was funny because like we did the show. We first started the show when this was happening. So I remember on our like sidebars or like after the show was done, you would talk about this. You would talk about the short and whatnot. And it's like, cause like I did think about the Big Short while watching this movie, and I'm pretty sure I said it when we reviewed that film, and I'm probably gonna say it in this one. I have no idea. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I think the Big Short did a better job at explaining what the fuck they were doing, but even that movie got me confused as all hell. So, but hey, this film, like to be quite honest, like even though I did not understand what the fuck was going on and whatnot, it was still fun. I can't say no with the picture with Anthony Ramos or Paul Dano playing the Redditor for a second time in this movie, and I love Pete Davidson as fucking Pete Davidson. So first impression, I thought it was a pretty good film. I don't know if I would catch it again just because it's not. It wasn't like what it wasn't. It's not for me, and like it's crazy how this movie. This movie takes place literally 4 years ago, but it already feels like a fucking period piece, man. It's not fair. It's insane. Anyway, so I'm not gonna rate it quite yet. Let's have a talk first, and let's keep going.
How many cats? You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're muted. You're on mute.
That's
Thank you.
hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you so much, JP. Let's go with Dino.
All right. I'm repping my Piggly Wiggly. Boom, 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 boom. Brr, 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 brr. First time watching the movie, I mean, everyone's saying The Big Short. I remember talking to Jason as it was happening, and I'm like, just start writing the movie now. This is going to be another Big Short movie. And I think the movie was fine. I don't know if it was just so many comedians playing somewhat um, serious characters that it was hard for me to like disconnect them from being in this kind of a dramedy type of movie. So that was one issue. That's on me though. But I just feel like it's too soon. Too soon? Like all these movies are popping out left and right. It's like if anything goes viral, you can expect the movie to like be written and on someone like on a studio exec desk the next day. And so yeah, so I just feel like it's a bit too soon. I feel that it fell short to The Big Short in that these we didn't spend that much time with these characters, so we didn't really, other than like Paul Dano and his family, and I think maybe America, like it just I didn't have the same connection as like Big Short, and maybe because that felt a little bit more investigative. Is that the word? Investigative? Because it was like a group of them knew what they were doing, another one had no idea. Then there were people investigating. This just felt like two sides, like we're coming at you, bow, 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 bow. And then it kind of just ended with just the lettering at the end. So I was somewhat entertained. I was, somewhat like, okay, I get it. It's another of these movies. It's some empty calories, but yeah. Paul Dano did great.
Thank you so much, Tino. Let's go with Jason.
What do you guys think about at a movie theater if you ordered popcorn and you said and the attendant was like, "Would you like worms with that?" And you like yes, and then they just put some gummy worms on top of it. Wouldn't that be a great little snack in the movies?
No.
Okay, never mind then. Just a business idea I was going to run by you guys. So, this movie,
Now,
this
now,
movie,
now, I would ask that for the sandworm popcorn.
all right, for the
It was
Dune
like,
movie.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
So
I thought that was your first impression. Like you go into the theater, you ask for some buttery, good popcorn, and they just throw worms on it, and that's what this movie was.
So
I was
if
I was
if the
waiting
soda
for the squeeze to be part of it. Like that was gonna be the analogy and stuff
Yeah.
like
Like the
that.
butter squeeze.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
it's just brilliant. If the sodium doesn't kill you, the diabetic shock of the worms will, man.
That's right.
It's an upper and a downer, you know.
There's no healthy snacks at the movies though. Like that's not what they do. But it's just food that I think it keeps you awake in a dark room. It's salty, buttery, sweet, chocolatey. Okay, sugary. Okay, so this is what I think about this movie. This movie, I thought it was really funny because Dino did say to me when all this stuff was unfolding, he says, this is going to be a movie. And instantly I'm like, yeah, of course it is. And I also remember thinking it's got to be made into a movie quickly because of how egregious this story is. If you like, I mean, some of you didn't maybe understand what was happening, but basically what happened at this time is that this guy showed that the entire stock market and thus American financial system and probably the global financial system is 100% rigged. They can do whatever they want to do. And there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. And even when you figure out a weird arbitrage in the system, a little wormhole that you can sneak in through, they'll start covering it up on you like it doesn't exist anymore. And so this movie ultimately is like the David and Goliath tale, the underdog tale. But the thing is, it's so weird because like the underdog is usually not the majority, and like we are the majority, but somehow we're still the underdog.
Yep.
It's a weird thing. So that's what this movie kind of like represents to me. and at that time during the pandemic, there's like a lot thrown at us, like at one time, and this became like this weird cultural moment. And it just to me felt like if this is going to be made into a movie, it's got to be done quickly. Clearly, the producers of this film thought so too, because there still needs to be more said about what happened that day. Like, I mean, I know people testified in front of Congress, but they didn't get all the people, and maybe they didn't get the right people, and the judges didn't come down on who they should have came down on because this was bad business for the financial markets of the world, really. So yeah, this movie, it reminds you of The Big Stop in that sense, where you realize like they're all in on it. You know what I mean? Like they're all in on it on you. And it like George Carlin said, it's a big old party and you're not invited. So that's what this movie gets me thinking about. I thought Paul Dano was great in it. I always think he's great. He's probably the greatest character actor of his generation. I think, at least top three. He's in there. He's in that mix for sure. I thought all the casting was really good. You're right. People like Pete Davidson, everybody's sort of playing themselves, but I would have cast Pete Davidson in this role because he's a Long Island type of guy, and it's like he's perfect. So yeah. But yeah, I thought the cast was all pretty good. They all played with each other really well. The story moved along. It was never really boring. The other side of it, getting guys like Seth Rogen to, play sort of the bad guy, and what's the other guy's name? Swanson? What's it? Nick Swan. What's his name?
Nick Offerman.
Offerman. Sorry, Nick
Yeah.
Offerman. Like, those guys are sort of like straight to the bone, and they're like probably the two funniest guys in the movie, and I kind of like that actually. Yeah. So yeah, I had a good time watching this film. It was entertaining. I was also involved in it to one degree or another. I bought the stock, and I held it, I hodled or whatever.
Time my hands.
But I also liked the perspectives and the intersecting stories with this thing too, like the girls in college, because there's a lot of different people from different ways of life who kind of all met on this one road, to like set the government straight, so to speak, and to, maybe get filthy rich for whatever reason. It was a moment in culture, in time, and all the people in the world that participated in that culture and time, they're going to remember it forever because it was wild. That's my thought.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's go with you, Steve, as the lights just turned off on me. First impression. I'm glad I waited till now to actually watch the movie because this movie, at least to me, feels like it came out too quietly. Meaning, like it when it first got released, like I heard from the people in that community that were kind of promoting it and doing like marketing for it. But then later, it kind of, for some reason, got swept under the rug. Like I'm not sure if I don't know. For some reason, it didn't feel like it had that intense marketing that Hollywood typically has. And
Yeah.
for the amount of people, like that's really what shocked me the most. Is just the amount of star power that's in this film. Because I was like, wait, Pete Davidson's here. He's probably there for that one scene, and then he's his brother. Oh, all this stuff is happening. Like all these people are in this movie. Wait, why didn't this movie get promoted more? So I even wonder, like behind the scenes, if they don't want people to see this. But at the same time, I'm very curious, and I'm happy that there's people here like JP and Marina and stuff that like don't fully get this. Me and Jason lived this, and I remember I was almost crying the day that they took the buy button away because that day fucked a lot of people up. Like
Oh, yeah.
I remember just like Hillary, and no, I almost called her Hillary Swank. Was the Latina girl was American
America?
Ferrara, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was literally like her. I was just like drinking champagne on first class, going like, "This is my last time." Like I, I identified so much because I was just like, I can't believe, like, with just a group of people online, we were able to like just make money like that. Like I just remember just flipping money like it was nothing. And I was just like, wow, this is insane. And the stock market is super rigged. And especially that day that they took that buy button away and all you can do was sell. You couldn't buy any more stock. I
Oh,
was
they were more than happy to buy your stock.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. But I was just like, wow, this is so fucking rigged. It's insane. And I'm definitely happier to illustrate more aspects of that if you guys want to understand more of what happened and stuff. Uh,
No, Steve, write it down into a movie. 'Cause that's what I want to see. I want to see more of the how the sausage is made, right?
Wait, I thought this was going to with 5 small payments of $5.99 a month. I'll teach you.
Yeah, we need to get one more person so Steve can be at the top of the pyramid. And we got three, two, and Steve on top. And then he's like, and if you just get 5 more people under you, then they get 5 more people.
And me and JP will be like, yeah, huh? Tell us more.
don't get me
We're
started.
just gonna
Don't
we're
get me
waiting for
started
it to
on that,
trickle
'cause-
down on us.
Don't get me started on that because I actually had a friend recently fall for one of those, and I
Uh-huh.
warned her. I was like, "Please don't do this," and she did it. But anyway, that's another sidebar for another time. I do want to talk about though before we get into the intricate details about stuff. Let's talk about favorite characters because there's so many amazing, wonderful characters. There's honorable mentions to be made, but there's some people that definitely deserve to be like, these people rock the role. And I'm gonna start while you guys think about your favorite character. And this one, the honorable mention that I'm going to give is the black dude that was working with America Ferrara. I think we needed that character to kind of feel what other people are feeling, going like, "Yo, are you stupid? Like, you gonna sell? Like, this sounds
Yeah.
like a pyramid scheme." Like, just that voice of reason was very important. And I'm gonna give that honorable mention. But to me, the person that honestly stole his role, and he was like, "I'm gonna do this role, but I'm gonna add to this," was to me the kid from Hamilton. I forgot
Yeah.
his name.
Oh, Anthony Ramos, yeah.
Anthony Ramos. That dude to me, he killed it. Like absolutely destroyed it. Why are you laughing at, Dino? Why are you laughing at?
At JP knowing Anthony Ramos, and I feel like in the dance scene that you said earlier from and so I feel like JP's in Anthony Ramos music video in the background dancing.
Oh my gosh.
I
I
mean,
like Hamilton.
you should have asked me because I had nothing. Okay, with America's buddy that worked in the hospital. That was a great interaction, and like I was saying, like I would have liked to see maybe more of them together, or maybe more of that character and what they were maybe getting into. Like, were they in any stocks at all, or were they just completely kind of oblivious and just kind of living it through America's life? So that's the type of things that I would have definitely wanted a little bit more character wise. Sorry, I jumped all over who favorite characters are, but because it's an honorable mention, I thought I'd jump in there.
Right on. Right on. I
You're
don't know
welcome.
if I have a favorite character on this one. It's sometimes hard for me when there's like ensemble pieces like this and there's so many stories, like the intersecting parts of the stories. But I think the relationship that I kind of liked the most was Paul Dano character with his wife. I was always compelled when they were on the screen together. It was something very compelling about like, you know, a husband and wife unit sort of going through this thing together, and her sort of being the voice of reason for him and kind of like consoling him, and him having someone as a sounding board, and her giving her like her advice on the situation, and there's something very nice about their dynamic, I thought, because like you think about all the other dynamics, I feel like all those I sort of saw coming. Like I know there's people on the American Ferrera side. It's important you show that, but I'm like I knew those were people. I knew there was people like the Ken Griffey's and whatever. You know, they're behind the scenes, like kind of maneuver, and the Robin Hood guy, the Vlad guy or whatever. Like you know, those were kind of like guys in the press or whatever, and you know they were panicking. Like all those emotions were there, kind of attached to them. But I do kind of like how when they spent time with the lead character who the whole thing was going on. You know, he's like this one small dude, and he started this movement. You know what I mean? Like that's impressive. Like a human being started a movement, and he won from it. I mean, he won. He made out like a bandit, right? So I'm glad. Like this story would have been really sad for me had like we found out like he lost everything and you know was like margin called or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh man, but the fact that he got out and he was able to get his brother a new car and you know take care of his family on something that he truly believed, even though the rest of the world didn't see it, that's just a great story.
Yeah, everybody's stealing mine. The Anthony Ramos, he worked at GameStop, right? Like that was
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what I say. He was probably like my favorite as well. And then I was gonna say second, just to be funny, was also the wife, Shailene Woodley. I love her, but I hate her because I feel like she just shows up to every set and is just herself. Like, it doesn't matter if she is a wife on a movie about stocks, if she is an action hero in Divergent, if she is an American teenager who gets pregnant at 16 for 7 seasons of the weirdest high school show I've ever watched. She is always the same her. It is freaking crazy. Like, there's no change. Just like, hey, Bella, my voice is so soft. I'm a Divergent. It's just like,
I
it's so
don't know who that is. There are 2 wives in this movie, and I couldn't tell you which one.
the
was her.
wife of the main character.
Okay.
She came
Ron
from this.
Gage wife.
She came from The Secret Life of American Teenager, which was like a very like controversial high school show about her getting pregnant as a sophomore in high school. But she would later go on to be in the Divergent series, kind of like a Hunger Games style
Yeah.
movie. But she's always the same. It's the same character.
I get her, Brie Larson, and Jennifer Lawrence confused all the time. And it's not because, they're similar. I think it's just because I'm a raging sexist.
Well,
Is that why you're trying to take Captain Marvel's hair back?
oh man. But long story short, no pun intended. She was my second favorite. Just because, yeah, same thing as Jason said. Like it was
man.
like she wasn't like this blindly dumb wife. Like she was like chill, but low key, still running the show. Like just a voice of reason for our guy.
Yeah, especially when clearly her and the brother character seem to be, where she, what is it? The brother finally is kind of like, don't stop. Oh, be yourself, right? The hearing is about to happen. And he's like, be yourself. And then almost every step of the way, she's supportive, even though she has questioned and like maybe time to sell or whatever. But she normally goes back to like, if you know what you're doing, let me support you. And kind of like, yeah, your dumbass brother, he has he has a good idea. Just be yourself. So I totally agree with her doing a really good job with that character.
Yeah.
Oh, I have an honorable mention. The roommate. The roommate in the dorm.
Yeah.
That poor roommate.
And we've all been there. We've been on one side or the other side of that room. Boy.
He's like, I thought this ended
I love
when
that
I left
roommate.
those crypto bros.
That roommate was dope.
It was funny.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on. Is that anybody's favorite character? Any of those two? The college.
The college
Yeah,
kids.
I like their story too. Yeah,
I
I
like
feel
their
like
story too.
yeah, I do feel like there's a disconnect though, right? Like how I said, I do like how they all come together. Um, but I feel like the only difference between this and most movies where that happens is that the come together was like obvious, so that their stories all were kind of a little separate. Like it wasn't like, oh, the dorm girl goes to a restaurant and it's the same restaurant next to the GameStop. Like they never had like a collision like that
Yeah.
in it. So I do
Well,
think that kind of took away from you like kind of connecting because you're rooting for individuals instead of like a core. I don't know. Yeah.
well, he was
Yeah,
the only
totally.
thing connecting everyone, really. You know what it was like. So that was the whatever the diamonds hold together or whatever corny ass thing Steve came up with is what
Diamond hands.
there you go. Like
And yeah, and it probably makes more sense if you were a part of it too. Cause like one thing I can say, just like from the outside looking in, and COVID was probably a really good time for it, is it's very hard to get everybody to be on the same page for a group effort. Like it's very, very hard. Like it's very commendable that people like stuck together and didn't sell a lot sooner because people can it's tough. It's a choice. But I do think COVID was a good time for something like this because I hate to say it, like, people were getting 950 a week. So it was just like
Yo,
if there
yo,
was ever a time to risk something when you knew you're gonna get 950 again next week, it was during COVID.
yo, legit, I was shocked about the amount of people that were so up because I was up, but like there were people that were so up. Like I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they were like, "We're not selling. We're not fucking selling." Like this thing was
Yeah.
real,
I
and
I
like
was
I remember people getting interviewed going like, I'm gonna hold this down to zero if I have
Yeah.
to, like straight up. And they
it
were
was
like living in their mom's basement and stuff like that.
it was something like not even just like this one particular thing, like just seeing how even people with like crypto and things. Like I remember one of them that my husband had gotten, like one of his friends had, gotten up to like 300K on something. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it should sell. I think John got up to 10K, and I was no Shailene Woodley. I was just like, I think I need
So
you to.
that's the question I have for you guys. I'm glad you said that because this is the interesting thing to me. Let's say you did buy something that cheap, something that you didn't spend very much money on. Let's just say you put $100 on something you heard it was a thing, and let's say that thing it's now believed trajectory wise, it's being reported that it could go to 1 million, but you are currently at let's say 200,000. Do you start selling it, or do you say, you know what, this thing's been going up like 20K every day, I'm just going to hold on for the ride? Do you risk like trying to get to 500,000, or do you just sell it at the two, or does it like at what point do you decide to take the eject button? Because that's what everybody in this movie's faced with. Like that's a lot of temptation. When do you pull the eject button?
As soon as my
so
thing hits $50, no, I'm kidding.
so
I'm out.
I'll hold for the long run, but I'll take if I put $100 once I'm able, I take $101 out, and I'm just like I made a profit, and now we can hold.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's crazy because Michaela had this conversation when we were watching the film, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. But to be quite honest, like with that logic, if I spent just $100, 100's not that much. I would just hold on to it for the memes, to be quite honest. Um, but damn,
Just to be
if
a part of the community, you mean?
exactly, because I know I would not be the guy who would keep on buying. I would not do that. I would just stick with whatever first purchase I had and see that number go up. But I'll tell you right now, though, 100,000, that's awfully tempting. Like as soon as they talked about it, I was like, fuck, man, like that is a good like like good temptation, but you gotta remember, like, with that mindset, is like, if I only put 100 in it, then nah, it's not like I lost anything. So it's
Yeah.
like I only have to gain.
I would say with the mindset I had during that time, I more than likely would have just held. And with the mindset I have today, I would have slowly trickled out,
Yeah.
but playing like a game. Like, okay, I'm gonna take $1 out today, then $2 tomorrow, then 4 tomorrow, then 8 tomorrow, then 16 tomorrow, and just like be multiplying it like that, and be
Yeah.
like, I'm just doing it for fun, and I'm just cashing out slowly.
Another
Sure.
reason why people hold, right, is because if you take it out too soon, you owe a lot more taxes too, right? Like if you took out $100,000, you're basically gonna owe the government like 48K. If you do it before a year, is it?
So yeah,
Right.
the tax on a stock, on an equity, is basically a year and a day. You would pay 15% if you can wait a year and a day, but if you sell before that year and a day happens, you owe 20%. So 5% could be a lot depending on how much you've gained, right? So it just depends on, like, do I wait a couple more months for that time to expire and keep my 5%? Or do I hold on to it? It just, it's however you want to play it. Some people are like, I don't want to give the government, $4,000 or whatever. So I'm just going to hold it for however long.
Oh, it's only 20%? Yeah, I'm taking that money out.
Yeah, it's the difference between 20 or 15%.
Right.
I don't know where I heard
Well,
50% from.
the thing is also, and there's another thing. First of all, we're not financial advisors. We gotta like throw a disclaimer out there. But but
By
but
Southwest,
I asked an opinion. I asked, what would you
it
do? So
it
we're not
also
offering financial advice.
but it also varies from state to state, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's federal, what I just mentioned.
Yeah, like the state of California or a state of dread.
long story short, crypto's up right now. I don't know if it'll be up by the time this airs, but
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Crypto's crashing by the time it airs. Crypto's on the floor.
We can all show our portfolio of what we have right now, and 6 months later, someone's gonna be like, "Oh shit, yeah,
Right.
I gotta go buy."
and then we start a whole another cinema club.
Here's my net worth. A Nintendo Switch Lite. I can't even get the regular one.
yeah.
Was that a pager?
No, it's a little GoPro.
Oh, fucking pager! Goddamn beeper!
Tell us how old you are without telling us how old you are.
Clearly, you guys can guess.
So, like, my net worth is probably like those little pantyhose in the plastic eggs.
That's your net worth.
Wow.
Yeah, like, do you have like a lot of them? Like, do you have like a did you go to Costco to buy them? Like you open up a bedroom in your house and it's just like wall to wall eggs with the pantyhose. All right.
Yeah, I
Like
got
the
a
people who
question.
bought toilet paper during the pandemic.
Oh,
This is my net worth. There's $40,000 worth of toilet paper in there once I sell it all.
God.
Yeah,
Those
I had gone to
bastards.
Costco like a week before stuff went down. Like I dodged bullets. Like I had gotten on unemployment a week before.
Wow,
So
you were like a week ahead of the game. You were smooth sailing that first.
everyone's like, unemployment's down. I'm just like, oh.
Oh man, I got my teeth. I
No,
got
that's
my
my job
teeth.
before it was cool.
I didn't notice.
Could you imagine like having the feds tell you, say, "Nah, bitch, you ain't essential."
Well, no, I got so scared because I was already on it that I wasn't gonna get the extra money that I went and got a job like a dummy.
Oh, that is scary. That would have been horrifying. You're like, no, wait, me too.
Yo, I got a question going back to the movie. So we're still in the movie, guys. It's not post chat. It's the movie time. So, how did you guys think the movie portrayed the pandemic times, like the whole mask thing, thanking the essential workers? What do you guys think of that?
I think
It
it's a moment in
was
time, and they sort of had to. You know what I mean? I think like if
yeah.
you're going to accurately portray that moment in this world's history, you got to go there because that's the way it was.
Mm. I
I think they
think
should have.
who said maybe this was made a little too soon. Like on one hand, yeah, it's great because like people who understood it are still alive, or like because like we're still the age of the adult right now. Like when The Big Short came out, that was like our parents' problem, right? Like we were learning how to do the Soldier Boy, they were losing their house, like but but this this was our current situation. So on one hand, it wasn't too soon because like maybe it might not be as relatable 20, 30 years from now. But on the other hand, anything I see that touches on COVID, I'm just a little too like, it feels really, really weird. Like, even when I was watching like episodes of like 911 that have masks, I don't know. It's just still kind of really surreal that we were living that life. So it's kind of hard for me to like be like, oh, wow, that's cool. Or, I appreciate the essential workers and things, but it almost feels fake. Like, cause it's not,
Because
I don't
it's
know.
a fake movie.
Yeah, but Mean Girls, I really feel like I'm in high school in Mean Girls. Like I didn't really feel like I was in the pandemic um with them. I just felt I was more focused on the plot than
Yeah.
that.
It felt like pandemic light. There was a few,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning of the movies, like they're at the bar. Is like, okay, this is the early 2000, like 2020, and you're at the bar. That bar is fucking collecting dust. No one's in that fucking bar yet.
Bro, I don't know why I didn't think of that. You're right.
Yeah.
Like the Nintendo Switch Lite. I agree. It felt like pandemic light. But I think it's definitely a bigger part of the story. Like so many people were home, so many people were on the computer, were watching stuff. Like Jason, was reading up on it, was watching all these different diagnostics and stuff like that. So I think without COVID, this wouldn't have hit that hard. The situation itself, not
Right.
necessarily. Which
And that, like, on that, another thing. I mean, it wasn't said in the movie, but sports were out as well.
yeah, during that time.
So
So I had that kind of, yeah, the whole, like, it could have even gone a little bit more in the sense of like steal some shots from I Am Legend, right? Just like nothing in the streets, just like no one, right? Which they kind of tried doing it with the train and stuff like that. I still think this movie is gonna hit more in another 10 years or something. Like right before the next kind of like weird short whatever thing that the Wall Street bros take advantage of
The
that the
same way
little
that the
people.
movie Contagion took off the first week of the pandemic.
Oh really?
Remember,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
everybody was what Contagion went to like the #1 movie in the world
Oh,
when the panty started.
the panty.
we
When
were
the
trying to
panty
learn.
drops,
well, I thought the #1 movie during the pandemic was Tiger King.
That was
That
serious.
That's a documentary. That's a documentary as well.
that was documentary.
I will
Damn.
say that hit
Yeah.
off because I don't watch documentaries, and I was watching Darn Tiger King.
Which
Goodness
that
gracious.
that again is an example of like a documentary comes out, it's super popular, it kind of goes viral, and then it's like, oh yeah, let's do a TV show literally about this, and it's like
Yep.
we just watched it. Like why do
It just happened.
yeah,
So, but
like
you know what though? I think I agree with you, and Dino, when you say like maybe too soon, and maybe it was, but I think for the filmmakers as well, the artists, I think it's important to get it now when the feeling is still hot, and we also have the technology and the capability to do it. Like if
right.
everything's on board, the money's there, the interest is there. I don't know if this movie made its money. Yeah, this movie made its money back, but I think sometimes you got to strike when the iron is hot, and maybe this is one of those things that the next time we have a moment, people are gonna like, hey, what about dumb money? And then this movie makes a bunch of money.
Well, so I saw at the end that it's based off a book. So I don't know how much it actually follows a book. The antisocial network. I don't know if that just follows one of them, if it follows multiple of them, if it's just an overall situation. And I'm not necessarily saying don't do it. That's just kind of my preference of it, feeling it. And so I won't necessarily go and watch it. But what I'm saying is, like, I think it's great having someone this quickly doing it, because 10 years from now, like at the very end, you see the little script of who did what and what did what. 10 years from now, maybe we'll find out more about the Robin Hood bros. You know, it was like, oh, they went through the text messages, and there was text messages between the bank people and Robin Hood, but then the trial and the lawsuits and all that got dropped. So maybe 10 years from now, 15 years, put your hand down. I'll get to you in a minute. 15 years from now, I'm getting riled up. We're going to find out more information about it when AOC becomes president and she releases, you know, all the documents that had been, you know, marked off because, you know, us little people shouldn't be reading all that information.
All that classified
shenanigans.
stuff.
Yeah. So then we have that, and so then this is like a time capsule within a time capsule, talking
I think
about
so.
the pandemic. And that in itself is its own little time capsule, and then you have this situation inside that time capsule, and then outside of that you have Schrodinger's cat capsule, and then you have this movie, and then we have the future. Steve, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I want to say that everything Dino said is propaganda for the people watching. And for Jason, I wanted to say that this movie's budget was 30 million according to Wikipedia, and the box office was 20.7 million.
So it fell a little short, huh?
You can say it fell a little big short.
Fell a little bit short.
I actually made money of this.
You see
movie,
JP dancing? You see JP
Yeah.
dancing just like the Chappelle Show.
It went to streaming fairly quickly, though, right?
Yeah.
I saw this movie on the airline.
Okay, Grandpa.
I'm just saying, like, it had already come out. It was out for like it was out, and then it was on the airline like a month later.
It was on a TV box. It was on a TV box right next to the stack.
It was on carrier pigeon.
On the aeroplane.
It was on a thing, yeah. You know?
It was in the red box at my local Walmart.
Yo, who's keeping those in business? Like, who's keeping Redbox?
I always see somebody at the red box at the grocery store because I'm like, what are you doing? Always, every time I go in there.
They're like, oh, they got that new Santa Claus 7.
I still have a DVD player. I should use them if they ever have anything good.
Do I? I don't. I have Xbox, but
when did this movie come out though? I forget.
2023 came out last year.
Okay.
This came out like the end of last year.
Yeah, so this movie is gonna make a lot of more money in the streaming department.
There's no money in the streaming department. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No, they'll lease it. They'll lease it to like a streamer, and they'll get a chunk of money.
yeah, there is.
Netflix right now.
My husband had like a line in Vice, and then like Netflix bought it or something. He got another check. I don't know, but
For
yeah.
2 cents?
Yeah.
Yes, 35 cents actually.
My uncle is also a streamer, but I think it has something to do with his urinary tract being infected.
Hey-o! Well, lack of streamer then, I would imagine, if it's infected.
Wait, did we all say whether or not we're gonna sell these stocks or not? What are we like? Everybody said that. I forget. I'm selling as soon as I double my profits. Dino's holding.
And Marina just
So,
lost all her money.
I would
'cause
have
she
to
forgot
something would
sell.
have to happen for me. Like I would have had to miss a certain amount of days of action and then open my account and see the crazy number for me to get out that high.
Yeah.
Because I can wait, but as soon as the number gets to a point where it seriously impacts my life, then I'm like, I'm out. Because like kind of like JP, I don't know if it's 100,000,
Yeah.
At that point, it could have been 50,000. I don't know, but whatever that number
Are
would have
you
been.
are you out completely though?
Uh,
I like Dino's idea of like, well, depending on how high it
no,
is.
Dino has the right idea. You play with the house's money as soon as you can. Dino has the right idea. It's the most conservative idea. Dino's not going to lose no matter what. He's actually going to win because he's got the extra buck. But what Dino's going to be missing is the outsized gains that the
Right.
people that held did, right? So, I mean, it just depends on your philosophy. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to your philosophy, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two questions. If Robin Hood, so this is where I'm at, where I'm like interested in, especially when all that shenanigan went down. If Robin Hood wouldn't have frozen the buy button, how much further would this have gone? Or would that have just meant that these hedge funds would be draining even more money, right? And then the hedge funds would actually have collapsed, or would the government have come in before Robinhood did the shady business? And second, the fact that the hearings were all through Zoom, how would it have affected if it was in person? Like if those fuck faces would have had to go in front of people and everyone's there all at once. And it was very interesting of like how many people are in the room with you. Like that I think says a lot about also the shadiness of them and okay, we're trying to figure out where we can make you seem less douchey. So
Mm.
like would there have been more repercussions if it was like NBC and the full press is there and everything is being blasted? Because again, pandemic shit was on there. Like I like watching Colbert, so I remember when all that was happening. I'm like, oh, I feel like once this starts being news at this point, it might be time to sell. Like it's too good to be true at that point that it's like, so, ready to jump ship.
Yeah, once everybody's talking about it, it's probably time to. There was an old saying back in the day. I remember hearing it in another movie, but someone says once your cab driver starts giving you stock tips, it's time to get out. Because
I
like once
saw
like
I
the blue collar guy
Yeah.
knows too much about stocks, that means that information's too readily available. You gotta pull your money out.
I saw and this is real. I saw a kid trying to show an elderly person at a Walmart in Puerto Rico on how to buy Dogecoin in Robinhood
Mm.
At a Walmart.
at a Walmart.
Well, and that's funny too because like
That just sounds cute though.
But it collapsed right after. It collapsed. That was the top. That was the top.
well, I was saying that to somebody as well. Like obviously, people, you can come out on top with all kinds of investments, right? It's always a risk. But I remember I said that to someone when it was in the heat. I said it a little too soon. I was just like, I don't trust things when it's accessible to everybody. Like, it's the most profitable when the big guys are the only ones who know about it. I said when everybody is on something, I'm like something's it's rigged. I said, I mean, but thankfully people came together and figured out how to rig it for themselves. Somebody had to lose in those scenarios, but a lot of people won in a lot of ways in investing. But yeah, I wondered at one point, like, are they just getting all of us to do our thing? And
Oh,
they
like
just,
they were rigging it to do what do you call it? A rug pull.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I felt, and I feel like to some extent, it did kind of happen like that. Like leadership was having like these meetings on these
Yeah.
platforms. Everyone's like, "Woo, let's go!" And then they sold their stuff, and now all
The
these people are like, getting in
Reddit,
trouble, like
Reddit shutting
for
down, like it's just like all of a sudden everything just like doom, doom, doom kind of happened. Domino effect. So is the next one BTX? Is that what it's called? Like the whole trading
The
thing?
crypto
Like,
exchange. So
yeah,
I'm glad
crypto
you asked
exchange.
that question, Dino, because I actually wanted to phrase a question for you guys because there are a lot of movies like that have come out, like of this ilk, like the one about the Uber people, the WeWorks people. With the Anna, the
Inventing
con artist
Anna.
girl, the
Yeah.
Inventing
The
Anna. So a lot of these
Gang
big
gang.
money
Fire,
con artists,
the
sort of
Fire
big
Festival.
Fire
Oh yeah.
Festival. So all these like giant entities that are involving like big banks and big corporations who are moving like a giant, enormous,
Right.
unthinkable amount of money around. All these movies are being made about them, kind of like breaking down, like, hey, this wasn't all like above board. Some of this was like some bull crap. And then there's also like there's
Emily
not
in
all of them
Paris.
though. Some of them are okay. Like the Facebook movie seemed, legit. Maybe he stole an idea, but maybe all these movies have come from the Facebook movies, right? This is a trend right now. Movies about this corporate sort of stuff. Actually true stories, not even based in reality. They are true stories. What do you
Oops,
guys
there
think is
goes
the next
gravity.
one? Dino's already answered it, BTX, but that was what I wanted to ask you guys. Like, is there a next one? Because I have an idea for the next one. Do you remember the Popeye chicken sandwiches that everybody was going crazy for a while?
Yeah, and people getting shot.
I want that movie.
Oh, kind of like what's his face did the chips, the hot chips. But not the guy that's in the
Hot
Ant-Man.
Wings?
Huh?
What?
The Flaming Hot Cheetos?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that movie. That's on Disney Plus. It's actually kind of cute. I liked it.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's your Popeyes. Just change that info to Popeyes, and you got a
Flaming
movie.
hot.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
was
write the Popeye's chicken sandwich movie, and I'm gonna put it on Tubi. Okay.
Well, yeah, I hope, all of our millions of viewers don't try to steal our ideas, but I when it was funny that you brought that question because somewhere in between you guys mansplaining something, I started daydreaming about
Damn.
I started daydreaming about a script for like there should be a movie about people that kind of like rigged the system. Like I know people that like got like the PPP loans and then they like got people to write fake leases so they could get
Yep.
fake back pay and then them and the landlord split it. I think that'd be a very interesting concept. Like someone who was like doing really well right now because they were hopping on everything. Like they sold Dogecoin while it was like all they
What
did
would you call
everything.
Pandemic the movie?
Yeah.
It's like the pandemic slicker. I don't know. Horrible. I need to hire someone else to make
The
the
Pandemic Slicker.
I want a movie of like the person just waiting, like the Joker, like LA's gonna turn into a nightmare. And they just started saying people looting. Go loot there. Go steal that car.
Well, it's called
I-
Cashdemic, right? The Cashdemic.
I was gonna say I saw that ad on fucking Fox. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
What a
And
time to be alive.
and talk about the Riddler's origin story, right? I mean, from streamer to streamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
He
you
went-
want to
he
connect
went
these
from-
two movies, this could be the Riddler's origin story,
Oh,
right?
and now when
He went from good Reddit to bad Reddit.
Hey-oh. And when he got served, I was waiting for Pineapple Express crossover. I was like, it's hilarious if all of a sudden it's just Seth in one of the costumes. Whatever his laugh is. So
But yeah.
okay,
Did we just do Pineapple Express? Is that what happened?
I was just thinking about how I missed that week. So I've yet to see that movie.
a few weeks ago. Spoiler alert: he is a court, whatever, hands paper. Oh, and America Ferrera is also in that. No,
Oh,
whoop, wrong Hispanic girl, Rosie Perez. I'm so sorry. I'm
Dang.
so embarrassed.
Wow.
we lost
It'd
Tina.
be your own people, girl.
That's it for Dino and Cinema Club, ladies and gentlemen.
You got
He's the
Rosie
last-
Perez in America for confused.
Like completely different like generations too. Hilarious.
I know, but
Okay,
they're both
so do we want to
beautiful,
move
smart women.
on to something else, Steve? Do you want to move on to final thought or okay? Final thoughts.
Yeah, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's final thoughts time. and I feel that JP is very thoughtful, so I want to start with JP.
So, final thoughts. Even after this gracious panel of talented, equal-minded artists, I still have no idea what the fuck is going on. But no, honestly, it was a fun movie. I mean, it's pretty harmless. I mean, will I ever revisit it? Probably not. But I think it's a good time to watch, especially like it does. There is some whiplash, like just timeline whiplash. It's like, oh shit, that was 4 years ago, and if for some reason it just feels like a whole fucking lifetime ago. Like people we know are dead now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
That's my final thought.
It's pretty final, that's for sure.
Talking about final, let's talk about Dino.
All right. Again, really well done movie. Oh, was the audio up and down for you guys? I feel like they're really pumping that music. I don't know if I'm just getting old and these kids, but I felt like then I was like, I can't hear what they're saying, and I would raise it, and then the music would come on, and it was like, it's too loud. So that was one thing I just came to my mind. I don't
That's
know
his
if it's,
final thought.
yeah. Roar! Yelling at the clouds.
Was it for you meddling kids?
I know. This is one that maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 years from now, I would maybe revisit. Interesting, we didn't get that much into the next kind of movies of DTX and all that. And I think this is my theory of why maybe you have Wolf of Wall Street and then you have Big Short and stuff like that. And it was, yes, we had internet and like smartphones at that time weren't really that readily available, or not the majority of the people had them. So I feel that the fact that now everyone's got the news streams going on their phones, that these movies when they come out just doesn't have the it just doesn't hit the same because people are aware of what's happening. Whereas like I don't feel anyone really knew about Christian Bale's character from The Big Short. Like shit, I don't even know his name, right? But you know, the Paul Dano, the kitty cat, the weird video thingy. I feel like people at least in subconsciously had maybe seen about it or heard about it, or just cat memes in general. So a long way of saying everything was done well in the movie. Um, I don't know if I'd recommend it to anyone right now, but again, it's one that I would revisit in 20 years. I don't know what that says about the movie or whether or not I really enjoyed it, but hey, JP, let's rewatch. JP and I will have a rewatch. We'll schedule it. That's it.
20 years from now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for that, Dino. Let's go with Marina.
Yay. So before I jump into this, I thought about another movie. Stop, don't steal my ideas, guys. I'll find you. OnlyFans. Like how people really came up on OnlyFans during the pandemic. Not only that, how virtual pimps came up. Like there
Mm.
are people that got into the business of promoting OnlyFans and getting a cut from the models. Yeah, it's all in my head. I'm going. I got this. Anyways,
I love
so
it.
just finishing my answer to that question. But my final thoughts on this are the same. It's kind of cool to hear you guys' opinions, like being in it. It's just so funny how that time was so intense and I jumped into like a new career and I was so freaking busy that I didn't even have time to invest money to go to the moon. Like like me, I think I downloaded Robinhood and my free stock was GameStop and I probably sold it immediately for $5 and cashed out. But just like the fact that like people were at home really going hard and becoming like a part of a community and like just really into it. Like there were so many platforms and just like you saw money you never saw before and just go up and down and wow, I just like it was very, very cool to see this. I bet more movies will come out like this too, about like how intense that time period was. Um, but yeah, I would recommend this to anybody that like really is into like investing, and if they didn't know this happened during COVID, like, oh, did you see Dumb Money? Like blah blah. I don't know. I feel like I would watch this again. Like, if like not so much that I would pick it out, but if I'm like scrolling through the channels and it's on, I feel like it's a good comfort movie where you're just like, oh, rooting for the people type of thing. Multitask movie while I'm cleaning up kind of thing. I would definitely, yeah, I would definitely watch it if I saw it on TV, not necessarily just like pick it out again. But yeah, really good movie. Even if, like I said, I feel like some people don't get it at all. I'm not pointing any. But yeah, even not being 100% up to speed, and just I've been investing in my Roth since I started freelancing. I don't really, like I say, sell and buy that often, but um, it was still really informational and kind of cool part of our history now.
Right on.
Thank you for that. Now let's go with Jason.
Okay, so this movie, I did like this movie. It reminded me of a movie as you guys were talking, All the President's Men, which was a movie from like the 70s with Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, and they were going after Watergate, the whole Nixon scandal. This kind of gave me those kind of vibes as well. I think maybe all those movies are trying to sort of do that thing where it's like espionage, corporate, big stakes in the balance. Reporters are, playing a part, and journalists, and it's media, the world, and information moving at speeds of. I think they're all kind of playing with those type of ideas. But this movie is no All the President's Men. It is good. Whatever, watch it again. I might be in the Dino camp again on this one, where maybe 10, 20 years from now, I'll see it again. Would I recommend it? Absolutely, though. I would recommend it to anyone who was a part of that situation, anybody who bought a GameStop or AMC stock during that time, anyone who said, you know what, the stock market's running like crazy, I'm going to get in and get out, or anybody who lost money or made money during the pandemic. I think you'll get this movie, you'll relate to it. And oddly enough, it is like part of our history. It just feels like this weird parallel history. It almost feels like an alternate history that sort of never happened, but obviously it did. It's weird. Um, yeah, I think this movie does play as a nice time capsule for us. And even if you're just like wanting to see a pandemic movie of stuff that was going on during the pandemic, minus the bar scenes for whatever reason, but minus all that, I think you have a fairly strong pandemic capsule film.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's go with you, Steve. Thank you so much. I'm gonna give my final thoughts right now, uh, and my final thoughts is this movie surprised me a lot because it was actually very entertaining. Like I kind of went with the expectations of like, yeah, this is gonna be in the same realm of The Big Short and things like that. But I felt like pacing wise was really good. I still am conflicted about that scene about grabbing the girl's panties. Don't know why that happened, but I did enjoy most of the acting of most people. I still am trying to figure out how Pete Davidson is scamming the system and just smoking weed on payroll because I really would like that job. Um, and I think this would be a movie that I would recommend. I actually was going to see this movie with a friend because I thought my friend was not going to enjoy it because it's so financial or whatever. But I was like, no, she would have enjoyed it. So I would have definitely seen it again and I would definitely recommend to more people, especially people that are even remotely inclined into getting to know a little bit about stocks and stuff. Because ironically enough, if you are investing or if you're in the stock market or stuff like that, this is a major point in the history of financial stuff that like I think people need to learn. That is now like a fundamental thing for you to know that this happened, just so you know in the future, you know, they could rig it that way. But it will be very interesting if something like this of this magnitude ever happens again. That would be lovely, but we'll see. We'll see. So those are my final thoughts.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, then I just have one more question, and that's Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Next week, I'm glad you asked because I'm going again. I'm a dictator now. No, I'm kidding. Uh, it is not my turn. It is the returning champ. Dun, 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 with his new haircut. Dun, 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 dun. JP, it's your turn in Cinema Club.
The dramatics.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, it's my turn. So we're gonna if you guys remember whenever we watch movies, I kind of like to keep shit simple. To be quite honest, I don't like watching very long crap just because I have a very short attention span. And this movie has been in my radar for about a month or so, and it recently just got big in the news because this fucking thing got an Oscar. We're gonna watch a documentary short. We're gonna watch The Last Repair Shop.
Oh, awesome. I've been wanting to see this.
Nice.
And the great thing about this film is you could totally watch it for free on YouTube on the LA Times official YouTube channel. So, yeah. If you got premium, no ads. If you don't, I don't feel sorry for you.
The LA Times website, is that where we're going to watch it? Is that what you said?
It's got
YouTube,
a
LA Times YouTube.
Or you
Yeah.
can download an ad blocker on your Google Chrome, and you don't have to pay for premium. Anyway, that is it for Cinema Club. That's JP, that's Marina, that's Dino, that's Jason Echo, and it's me, Steve TV, aka Roaring Tiger. Rar. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.